Hello, welcome to Am I Going to Die? I'm one of your hosts, Dr. Jeff Gallops, Medical Director at the ENT Institute, and we're excited to be with you again. Am I Going to Die? Co-host
Melissa Moritz, you look tan.
I do not look
Have you been in a tanning bed lately?
No, I have not. I've been a little bit out in we have some extemporaneous noise going on here. It's because, oh wow, there we go. You know, she was actually listening to us live on her iPhone.
I thought
That's
it was
how
somebody
connected
else.
she is.
Yes, seriously.
So
my
today,
iPhone.
am I going to die from a tanning bed? Right? And normally I just blurt out the answer because we all know what the answer is.
No, actually, I
But we're
don't.
going to talk more about it. We're going to talk more about
We're
that.
going to
Anyway, glad to be
dispel
with you.
the myths, and you're going to tell us the facts about tanning beds and tanning bed safety and getting tan.
Well,
Because
I
look
can.
pasty
There are a
today.
lot of facts about tanning beds, and we know that the big concern is skin cancer, right? And in particular, melanoma, because not all skin cancer is created equal. Skin cancers are a wide variety. Melanoma, really bad. That's a bad any kind of cancer.
All skin cancer was melanoma.
No. Skin cancer can be basal cell or squamous cell. In fact, I had one removed here. So if God showed up and said, okay, you need to have a cancer, I would say, oh, give me a basal cell on the skin. And God would say, that's not a real cancer, not nowadays, right? Because you cut it out and it's cured. Or squamous cell, get it early, cut it out, it's cured. That's not a real cancer. But melanoma is the real deal. No matter where you get it, it can return even after not having it, being excised and being cancer-free, and it can come back in no time. So that's really the whole point.
So can you get melanoma from tanning beds?
Yes, you can, from natural sunlight. And the key is to dispel the myths around tanning beds today, right? For example, people that go to tanning beds, and it's very public on the web. You can look this information up. There's nothing I'm going to tell you that is really new. But people like to basically talk themselves into, oh, it's okay. So typical tanning beds emit 95% UVA, and that's not the University of Virginia, and only 5% of UVB, okay? UVB's waves or rays are considered carcinogenic, and manufacturers have come up with different bulbs and way to do it. So the whole point of tanning, is to increase melanin production for darkening the skin. Right?
Yes, and to cure my depression.
And that it is good, but that is visual, right? It's not because it's of the skin that it helps your depression, just so you know. It's visual. That's why wintertime, we have wintertime depression. I could never live, no offense, in Chicago, right? Why? It is like doom and gloom for, 6, 7, 8 months, right?
It is gray.
Right? Great city.
That's why you go to the tanning beds.
Right? I guess so. So it would be very interesting to see what the incidence of cancer is. So there are all different types of tanning beds. They keep trying to decrease the UVB and all, but still it does lead to higher risk of melanoma if used regularly before the age of 35. So there are tons of studies, and we'll look at some of those today. So
Have you been?
Have I? Yes, I have.
You've been to a tanning bed?
Yes.
Knowing how harmful it is?
Well, yes, but I thought I would use it in limited purpose because I wanted to be slightly tan so I could be outside without burning. Right?
Okay, so is that a myth or a fact?
Is it a myth or a fact? What?
That if you go to the tanning bed, so if you're prepping for spring break, because I did this, and you go to the tanning beds to get tan so that you wouldn't burn, is that true?
Well, it is true.
You
can
still
decrease
burn?
You don't burn if you have enough melanin because it blocks the burning.
What about
but
gingers?
Now it means that. Well, let's finish this thought.
I'm just so excited to talk about
yeah,
this.
apparently. So the more exposure you have to ultraviolet rays, the higher the risk is of developing a skin cancer. Period. So you're in a tanning bed, that's great, you feel good, you look tan, you go outside, spend more time outside with sunscreen, have protection so you don't burn, but you're still getting ultraviolet radiation, period. Okay, so that is a continued effect throughout life. And thank you for bringing it up. People who have skin type 1, the gingers, redheads, very light-skinned people have a higher risk because they have less melanin that protects you from melanoma. So, if you will, having darker skin is a protectant against melanoma. In fact, in the African American population, I don't see a fact here, but melanoma is a rare event in anybody that has type 4 skin to 6, right? So, yellow, Asian to African, but if you're ginger, right? Yeah, you have the highest risk
of melanoma
because you have no melanin there to protect you.
Got it. Okay.
Fantastic.
Right. So let's go through some of the facts and myths.
Go.
Then. Most skin cancers are no big deal.
Well, it depends on what you call no big deal. If it's melanoma, it is, highly fatal if it's in the head and neck.
Highly fatal. 1 in 5 Americans across all ethnicities will get skin cancer.
Yes, and most of them are not melanoma.
Oh my God, 1 person dies from skin cancer every hour in the U.S.
That's true. And in fact, at the ENT Institute, we actually are experts in removing skin cancers, right?
Huh.
We're board certified at it. And we can do that all over the body. We generally tend to focus on the head, neck, and face. Nothing kind of gets to me more when I see a patient that comes in and they have a bandage on their ear and they're here to see me, and I could do one-stop shop. They hear about their ear, nose, and throat problems, and I could have taken their potential precancerous lesion off. So I need to do a better job of internal marketing, if you will.
Because we should have some signage. Marketing.
Marketing. Internal marketing. One copay, one visit would take care of all these problems.
I'm going to write that one down.
You don't know if it's a cancer unless you biopsy it, which can be done without sutures. We call them a shave biopsy, and it's simple to do. Practically painless.
Practically.
Yes.
Just
a little pinch from a local aesthetic. Yeah, nothing.
Anesthetic?
Anesthetic. You said that well.
I said photo aging not correctly.
Photaging?
Yeah, photaging. Oh my God.
Yeah. And UVA, UVB, UVA, UVB. Okay.
Well, UVA won the national championship.
Well, Auburn should have, my team. Should have won, but we have only ourselves to blame. And I'm being told I'm off topic, so let's get back on this. So you can't tell if it's a skin
because
cancer.
Auburn didn't belong in the national championship.
They absolutely did, right? And most of those
players... The Northeast basketball team should all be up there like UConn.
Do you know what? And these young men that play on the Auburn team, most of them are right from here in Atlanta, okay?
Well,
Pearl came up here, sees these guys. They're just incredible. There's talent.
You stick with the football
There's talent
season.
in the ATL, okay? Thank God. Obviously, it's not me or you, but certainly not
I got talent.
So so skin cancers can only be diagnosed with a biopsy. You send it to pathology. They look at it under the microscope.
What do you do after that? What happens if it comes back positive?
Then you have to generally excise more tissue. And we can do that under a local anesthetic, and we cut pieces out, look at it under the microscope while you're sitting there, and make sure the cancer's gone. And when it's gone, then you can suture it up.
So you could see the cancer under the microscope right at that point in time.
Right. You're talking to your surgeon, your doc, take it out. Now, I don't want to get into too many technical terms, but there is a method that we use. And we're able to do that at the ENT Institute. Dermatologists use this type method as well, because who wants to excise it or cut it out, suture it up, send it up back to pathology and say, oh, you have a positive margin, meaning you still have cancer in the tissue, which means you have to go back and do it again. So we do it in one stop.
Can you get the skin cancer fully out without chemotherapy or radiation after?
Yes, and yes. In fact, generally chemotherapy or radiation's only for severe cases of melanoma, actually. But squamous cell can use it for that, but generally it's radiation. That's a downward spiral. That's something that's been going on way too long. Generally it's local excision. So fortunately, this, 1 in 5 people is not melanoma.
1 in 5 people is not melanoma. Okay. Right. So what about this myth? You don't have to worry if you use newer models of tanning beds.
Not true. They are better than past tanning beds, but still the risk is there.
It's all about the bulbs, right?
It's the bulbs that they use.
Right.
Yes. And you can't avoid having ultraviolet radiation. I mean, that's what.
UVA?
Yeah, and UVB. UVB being the worst.
Okay, so why is the FDA and the others, the CDC,
CDC, Center for Disease
I'm on a roll
Control.
today. Yeah.
Also based here in Atlanta.
Why are they involved in some of these facts and myths? How do they get involved in tanning beds?
Well, because it's a health risk. I mean, and it's buyer beware. I mean, now, you can still go buy cigarettes, you can buy cigars, and we know there's a risk with it. Same thing with tanning beds, but you're not necessarily going to change what the public is doing, and people are still going to be outside in the sun, so they're going to be at risk for it anyway.
Oh my God, I got a good one. Tanning can make stretch marks more noticeable.
Yes, because they have no melanin. Okay, it's scar tissue, so it has cells that make up scar tissue do not have melanin.
I had no idea.
They have no melanocytes.
So how do you put melanin into the scar tissue?
You don't.
Oh.
Now, you hopefully with science they can change that.
You can break up the scar tissue. We do that with the MPS, the micropoint current stimulation.
But not skin surface.
Not skin surface.
So it's the skin surface that's the issue.
Oh. So the best way to cover up your stretch marks is to use self-tanner. But don't leave like orange marks on yourself, like when you do that, and then it's like all orangey over here. Don't do that.
Well, better have orangey than have skin cancer. So really,
just
the
love
best
your
alternative.
skin. Just love your scars. They have a story to them. They do. Okay. So healthier alternatives to tanning beds. Well, that's a great entree into that.
It is, but I don't use any of those. But bronzers. Bronzers being
You don't use any?
No,
Oh.
I just naturally look bronze.
Or it's the lights.
It's the lights. I love these lights. I love the studio.
Bronzing powders, bronzing gels, spray bronzers. I mean, my Lord, there's a list of bronzers.
I know, and they're quite entertaining when people use those. When I see them, I'm like, oh my God, who poured orange all over that person? But again, I think that technology is improving, right? Because you only notice the bad stuff. Right?
What about the spray?
Really
I did it. I did the spray tan once. That
how
was
did that work out for you?
Well, I have Mediterranean skin, so I don't know. I didn't get the orangeness.
You didn't?
No, I just got tan.
Well,
without the harmful UVAs, UVBs,
and that's what you
then I was
do.
still depressed because I didn't have the natural sunlight vitamin D.
Well, that's a whole different am I going to die topic there.
Depression.
Depression. Right.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah, maybe we'll dive into that one, but that is a serious one.
What I love, go ahead.
I think the best cure for all of this is just to love how you look. Bada boom.
Yeah, just be you. So avoid the sun, right? And
you still need little bits of sun.
yeah, but you can get enough vitamin D by being out in the sun for 2 to 3 minutes in a month. Right?
No way.
Yeah, it's not much. Yeah, I mean, really, go sit at the picnic table, eat a sandwich. For 20 minutes, you got all the vitamin D you're going to need for, I don't know how long. I need to check my facts on that, but I remember that from medical school. Seems like yesterday. Right?
Okay.
So let's
the
avoid
big
sun.
question: am I going to die from a tanning bed?
Not necessarily, but you can develop a melanoma. That's the highest risk issue that you're going to get from being out in the sun that will cause you to die. Okay? So it's very limited, but it could be. It is a possibility.
So, yes.
And if you do have anything or any concern, then that's what we're here for. So consult your physician, in particular your ear, nose, and throat doc, dermatologist, surgeon, who can biopsy anything that you're concerned about. Better to know and get rid of it, because most all of them can be excised or removed. And the smaller, the better. In fact, sometimes you don't even need sutures. Just have them removed, get a diagnosis. If it is a cancer, then you excise more, you close it up, it heals very well. And ultimately, we want to avoid melanoma. And if you have melanoma, the best treatment is to catch it early, right? Anything that's a small lesion, I don't care if it's melanoma or squamous cell carcinoma or basal cell carcinoma, those are the 3 most common, with melanoma being the least common of those 3. But you have to have it biopsied. If there's a question, do it. Everyone that's out in the sun needs a full body examination, right? Generally performed by dermatologists. Those at risk, those with type 1 skin, which would be a redhead, right? Versus type 6 skin, which is an African American.
What type do I have?
You're probably a 3, meaning that you hardly ever burn, but you tan pretty quickly.
What do you have?
I'm somewhere around that 2 to a 3, but I'm 1/8 American Indian, Cherokee.
And what does that predispose?
Is it predisposed?
Yeah.
Right? No, the only predisposition is alcoholism, I think. But anyway,
And we covered that one.
Right. But I can still burn, so I have to be careful.
Got it. So if you're watching this and you think that you have a spot that you want checked, of course, call your dermatologist if you can't get in right away and you're really concerned. The ENT Institute offers same-day appointments.
That's right.
So we're
That's
here
what we're
for you guys.
That's right.
All right.
All right. Thanks for joining us today. Catch us next week for another episode of Am I Going to Die? Have a great day.
We're all...